Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about why we might choose to use an oracle deck as a clarifier in a tarot reading. So I'm going to approach this as if you were new to tarot and wondering, or newer to tarot in your journey, and are wondering why you might choose to work with a clarifying deck in a tarot reading. So if you're an experienced reader, then some of the things I talk about in this video will be kind of common sense things that you're already applying to your path. But I do feel at a point in the channel where I'd like to revisit some beginner tarot videos, just because I'm years later in the journey and can share perhaps a slightly different perspective than in the past, but also just kind of condense down information in a easier manner than when I first started making videos in the channel. So for this video, I'm going to be using, I always have to look at the name of this one, the Journey into the Hidden Realms Tarot. And I'm going to be using Raven Phelan's The Messenger Oracle as my clarifier. I've chosen this deck specifically, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So when we sit down to do a reading, we're typically looking for insight and guidance into an aspect or area of our life, or a place where we are on our journey. Perhaps, we're stepping into Mabon and we want to do a spread for ourselves about the energy of Mabon for us this year and what we can kind of explore more deeply on our paths. So usually we're looking for some type of guidance or information on our journey. And sometimes we approach a tarot spread, or we sit down to work with tarot and we actually have very, very specific questions, like why do I keep repeating a certain theme in a relationship, or how can I make a change in my career, or what do I need to know about a past life if we choose to believe in those. And tarot is a wonderful, concise, clear, powerful tool for giving us that type of insight, especially when we maybe don't want to look at or admit certain aspects of ourselves or certain places we might be on our journey. Tarot is a really beautiful way if you work with the full spectrum of tarot, light to dark, black to white, and all the gradations of gray and color in between. Tarot is a really beautiful, concise way that we can get real answers and real assistance on our journeys. Now, for some of us, our guides speak to us through tarot as well. And so tarot is always, for me as a reader, my first choice when it comes to asking questions and looking for information and insight from a tool of divination. So in this situation, tarot is our main tool that we're using in a spread. And the oracle deck comes in as a clarifier. Now, oracles tend to be, in my experience, much more big picture, with a focus more on, a larger energy that's occurring in any given situation or for ourselves on our journey. I love to use oracle decks as daily draws and, spiritual tools for me on my journey, as well as for clients. So for instance, if you come and have an in-person Reiki session with me, at the end of the session we'll typically draw an oracle card together, because there's just a really beautiful symmetry to an oracle deck that can kind of sum things up beautifully, but can also be sometimes a bit too big picture when we have a specific question, which is why for me as a reader, hold on a second, oracle decks serve as a clarifier and an assistant to my tarot deck. They're not typically my main deck when I read, although we can absolutely use oracle decks as our main deck in a reading. It just, for me as a reader, I prefer to use tarot. Tarot is my main voice. The oracle deck is an assistant to the tarot deck and the process of the reading itself. Just one second, guys. Sorry, I need a sip of tea. Now, you will find that if you work with tarot and you work with different decks, you'll probably want to have different oracle decks that work with decks and that work with your tarot decks, your assorted tarot decks, in unique ways as well. So for instance, in this situation, the Hidden Realm Tarot, which is what I'm going to call it because that's what I think of it in my mind, even though I know that's not the full name of it, has a very fae voice and reads very etherically for me. The Messenger Oracle has an equally other realm energy to her, but her answers can be a little, actually in some cases, a little bit more nuanced, and I find works well with the Hidden Realm Tarot for answers to questions, and especially for querents. I also find that the artwork, both are fae in nature, and so the artwork creates a visually pleasing image. It is not arresting or jarring. Now, sometimes in a reading, I do want the contrast of artwork, and that actually really helps me to clarify and condense meanings. But in this situation, I like the flow of slightly complementary fae and energy artwork that kind of can have a conversation together in a really beautiful way. So we're looking at our oracle deck as our clarifier. It's giving us information and insight into why we're experiencing a situation, or into why a tarot card showed up as an answer to a question that we're asking. So I'm going to adjust the camera, and then we're going to do a few sample spreads so you can see why you might choose to use an oracle deck as a clarifier. And again, you can use any oracle deck you want in any tarot deck that you want for this. I'm just using these two specifically because this is my mood today. We're currently in the month of September, and I tend to feel really fae and witchy and energy in September, and so I pull decks that are more like that. Both of these decks really work in this arena very beautifully. Okay, so I'm just going to actually shuffle the cards before we get started. This is the Messenger Oracle. You can use this sample reading as a reading for yourself on your path where you are if you happen to have questions that I'm going to ask. I always find that, you know, these type of things work out the way they're supposed to. So while this is a sample reading, if you feel like it applies for you in your journey, then absolutely please trust it. Okay, and you can see each reader has their own way of shuffling. I'll do another video about that at some point in the future. I've noticed for myself recently with my video readings that I like to touch the deck to my chest. I have no idea why I do that, but something about the heart chakra there. All right, so we're going to start this sample reading with the Wisdom or Journey into the Hidden Realms Tarot as our main deck, Messenger Oracle as our clarifier. And we're going to come to this asking what insight we need into a relationship in our life. All right. And for brevity's sake, for the purpose of this, I'm not going to go into a large spread for this. I'm also not going to use assigned meanings in the spread because I do not read with assigned meanings typically. If you are someone who does, then there are so many other videos that can guide you in different directions, and I will repost some newer ones in the near future addressing this aspect. But you can also go back on my channel and find some older videos talking about, you know, why you might want to use set meanings, and also why it's nice not to use set meanings for a spread. So we're looking for insight into a current relationship, okay? I'm going to do 3 cards. Now, we can read this a few different ways. So for a moment, I'm just going to sit with this. So we have Temperance, we have the 9 of Cups, and the Page of Pentacles here showing up. Now, there are many different directions we could take this in an actual reading for insight. The first way that we could look at this is that there could actually be a third party entering the relationship situation, all right, because we do have the page showing up. But in this case, I'm going to look at this as an already existing relationship in which there is a level of trust, and my querent is not concerned with, is someone cheating, but instead is concerned with more like, where are we right now as far as our relationship goes, okay? So typically when I do a reading, I will pull 1 clarifying oracle card just right off the bat. This is because that's just what I like to do. So I lay my tarot cards out, and then I pull 1 clarifier. See, the truth is showing up. So there is something that the couple does not want to look at in the relationship. This is where if we were reading and we thought that perhaps there was cheating going on, we could reference the Page of Pentacles. So you can see how that already, see the truth, is a clarifier if we were reading a situation where there was another party involved. See the truth with the owl. The owl is sacred feminine energy, and the fact that she's shown up in a deck that very much holds the space of the sacred feminine with the key phrase of see the truth, and is card number 39, which reduces down to a 3 in numerology. This all lets us know that there's something that the couple does not want to look at in the relationship, that it's time to voice, it's time to vocalize, okay? So we can already see how if we were reading this as a person, as a third individual, a third party in the situation, see the truth does give us the clarity that we're looking for here. See the truth on its own in the reading could certainly give you a direction to go with, but as a clarifier to tarot, it gives us a sense of purpose if we're reading that way. Now, I'm reading this not as an individual, let's say, okay, although clearly there's a little bit there. But let's say I'm reading this as a general energy. Page of Pentacles is not an individual. I'm reading her as an energy for the couple, and see the truth is showing up as my clarifier. So I can see from Temperance that right now the couple really does need to work on understanding each other and taking a step back, not being so dogmatic in their approach with each other, but allowing themselves to see the other person's perspective and to really communicate together. And 9 of Cups is letting us know that sharing right now is very, very important. It's also, some readers consider this the wish card in tarot, right? Like, as a reader and with this specific deck, when I look at the 9 of Cups, it's very much about a sharing with each other. So communication, looking at things from the other person's perspective and sharing time and space and energy together as a couple is very important right now. We also know that there's something that they need to speak the truth about and see the truth about with each other. It's quite possibly what I would say just from reading this energy. There's one partner who's quite probably going through a difficult time, perhaps dealing with depression or something that's causing them to withdraw in some way. The other partner, being that more element of fire interacting with water, can choose to be the person that calls us to attention and encourages conversation. So we're doing this aspect of the reading, and let's say now we have the Page of Pentacles showing up. We've already gotten the intuitive hit that we're not reading this as a person. So how do we suss out the wisdom of the Page of Pentacles for this querent or for the couple that's approaching us for a reading? This is where a clarifying card can really help. All right, so we already saw how a clarifying card just in general at the top of the spread helped. Now we're going to pull a specific clarification card from the Oracle deck for the Page of Pentacles. The question that I'm asking internally is, what do we need to know about the Page of Pentacles in this situation? Reveal your truth has shown up. So, someone needs to be very honest about what they are feeling about the relationship. You can see how that's like immediate clarification. If we're reading the Page of Pentacles as a general energy, it's time for them to approach each other with a fresh, again, perspective, a fresh viewpoint, and also with the patience of the element of earth. The Page of Pentacles is earth of earth. So there's a need for patience in the situation, for taking their time, and also to approaching each other in a fresh way through clear, honest communication. Reveal your truth is backing up the message of real, honest communication is necessary. It's time to speak the truth. It's not only time to see the truth in ourselves and our partners, it's also time to reveal your personal truth. So both partners need to be very honest about where they are and what they're feeling and experiencing and what they're willing to continue to experience in a relationship and what needs to change. Now, let's go back for a second to the possibility that we could be reading a third-party situation here, as much as I really want to go in that direction at the beginning. Reveal your truth is also really letting us know that there's something going on that somebody's not talking about. So not only may one partner be dealing with depression and anxiety, but we also have someone who may indeed be doing something that they're not being truthful about. And it really is actually time to speak up and tell the truth. So do you see how the Oracle cards as clarification really gave us a direction to move in the reading? Now, I also want to share with you, you can see how I showed you 2 different options for reading this spread as well. This is where trusting your intuition comes in. So if I was actually reading for an individual in this situation, which I may indeed be, I would definitely have to say that there's quite possibly a third party involved, even though I didn't want to go that way at the beginning. Reveal your truth and see the truth. are offering that there's something that is not being clearly spoken. There's something that's going on that someone is not being truthful about in the situation. And the clarification cards really gave us a direction to move in the reading itself. So clarifying cards are super helpful in a reading. And you don't have to use an oracle deck. You can use another tarot deck to clarify. I personally like the combination of tarot and oracle together. So let's do one more together so that we can get another viewpoint, another question that you could pull a clarifier for outside of a relationship that apparently is requiring a great deal of honesty at this time. All right, so now let's ask the question. Let's make this a little bit more personal. So this might be a spread that you do for yourself, not for a querent. What do I need to know about my spiritual journey right now? And I'm going to make this, let's see, we'll do 5 cards for this one. Now, in this situation, right off the bat, I'm going to draw a clarifier because you all know that now that's how I roll. I like to pull a clarifier at the beginning at the top of my spread. Nurture all that you love is my general oracle clarifier for this spread itself. Now, before I even go into the tarot cards, nurture all you love is letting me know that right now on the spiritual journey, connection with ourselves and offering love and appreciation and understanding to ourselves on our journey is essential, but also this nurturing of our spiritual path is a very important part of the spiritual journey right now. As an aside, nurture all you love also may be talking about the fact that relationships and how we're experiencing relationship right now are especially a spiritual tool or experience for us on our path. So really paying attention to how we engage with people in our most significant relationships in our life is very important at this time with this card showing up. Now, right away we have 3 major arcana cards, excuse me. The High Priestess, the Hanged Man, and the Hierophant. This is a significant time on the spiritual path. And then we have the 7 of Swords and the 2 of Swords here as well, kind of letting us know like what depths we're going to plumb, okay? So on our spiritual path right now, the sacred feminine mysteries and the intuition is essential to follow and give full expression to. Learning to trust and act upon the intuition is essential. Also, as we mentioned in the relationship reading we just did, seeing things from a fresh perspective is being called on with the Hanged Man. The energy of Odin is present here as well, so maybe that we're connecting with the god Odin on our path. And also we're being asked to shift our perspective on our spiritual path. It may be that it's time to let a new teaching come in, to study with someone new, or to allow a personally guided study to take a new depth, a new expression on our path. It might be time to get out of our comfort zone and stop doing the things that feel really good for us, or not stop, but bring in a new practice that kind of tests us, that kind of pushes and pulls us, and may leave us feeling not particularly safe, but allows us to examine things from a fresh perspective. It might not even be a teaching or a study that we keep on our path long term. However, at this time, the way that it pushes us spiritually may be beneficial. So let's ask for a clarifier on that from our oracle deck. Do not fear the unknown as our clarifier. Pretty clear, right? Like there's not, this is the beauty of a clarifying card as an oracle pull on a reading. Do not fear the unknown is backing up this message. It's letting us know that we're on the right path here. Stepping into a spiritual practice that kind of pushes us just enough out of our comfort zone, that encourages us to examine, parts of ourselves or parts of a spiritual path that are not like the easiest thing for us, that might really challenge us. It's time to go in that direction. It may even be that this is a time to experience communication with other realms, with people or beings who have perhaps passed from this physical realm or who exist on other planes. It may be that it's time to really explore that on our path. But either way, we're being encouraged to go to a depth and a level where we are pushed, and where we might even feel our security is taken from us with the 7 of Swords, and that we don't know what to do with ourselves with the 2 of Swords. it's time to kind of be pushed. We're ready. We're ready. And how we fully step into that is by nurturing ourselves, loving ourselves through the process and the people in our lives. And we may also find this mirrored in the significant relationships in our life, where we're really being asked to listen very, very carefully and not speak with our habitual immediate response. So you can see how the clarifiers do give us a direction in the reading. They help back up what the tarot cards are saying and clarify it very succinctly. I mean, you could see with the way that Do Not Fear the Unknown popped up right here, that this is very important. And it is time to step out of the comfort zone on the spiritual journey. So hopefully if you are new to tarot or new to using clarifiers in addition to tarot cards in a card reading, you found this exercise helpful for you, and just seeing how you can use clarifiers and really have an empowering affirmation, for your readings. They're really going to help back that up and like pinpoint the area that you're looking at, but also give you a big picture understanding as well. Again, as a reader, as someone who's been reading for 10 years now, I really love using an oracle deck as a clarifier, and I don't go into any reading that I do without a clarifying deck, at least present. I may not choose to use the clarifying deck, but I always have it available at my disposal for me to connect with need be. You could also see how the artwork flowed together beautifully. It was just different enough to help us see the contrast, but still flowed harmoniously in a way that made the reading enjoyable to look at and also to experience, hopefully. So I hope that this offers some clarification on your journey as a reader, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Much love and many blessings.